time for you to know and for us to start a show. Have a drink and take a seat here on Brewsic and Boozies.
To discuss another movie with you. Not a movie that's particularly full of music this time around, but it's probably a childhood favorite of some people. I know I'm a huge Tom Hanks fan. I love the man. So we are talking about Big, which is on Disney Plus, which I didn't know until you pointed it out. And I hadn't seen this movie since I was a child, I think. So like this was the first time watching as an adult. And it was interesting. It was an interesting experience for me. This was also your pick. So
Yes.
I don't know.
Yes, this is my pick. It was my pick.
Tell me why. Why did you pick this movie?
It's got some magic in it, in my opinion. I think there's just something special about this. It was the first time I think we saw a movie where it was this idea of what would a kid trapped in an adult's body, how would that go up? How would that play out? And where's the fun in that? And there was a lot of fun in that. And then, we got some rehashes down the way with 13 going on 30, which is almost the same movie in a lot of ways.
From like the
different details, and it's a girl, and it's the understanding of like that's the rules are different, and it doesn't deal with time traveling itself. It's just like you wake up the next day exactly as as an older adult. So
yeah.
Why did I pick this movie? I don't know. I love this movie. That's all. Very simple. I love this movie. I've always loved it as a kid. Every time it's on, I discover something new. And I think now that I actually probably saw this movie the same age as the boy who plays the young character Josh. I think I was the same age as him when I saw it, maybe a little younger. Actually, I think it was younger. No, I was actually definitely younger, but I was still, I was a kid. What's that?
What year? Oh, you have it.
Let's find out. Says here 88. So you was born.
All right. So yeah, you were probably really young when you first saw it. So
yeah,
was I
remember seeing it on like the shelves at the video store or library or something, and I was like, it didn't seem like a movie that I would understand, or didn't seem like something I was interested in. But my mom pointed it out to me. She said, "Oh, you like this movie?" I go, "Okay." And then I watched it, and I was just like, "This is like a little boy's dream, become adult and you have access to all kinds of things now, freedoms that you never had before as a kid." But there's also a great message with this movie too. So I don't know. I just like it. And I love Tom Hanks in this movie. Really simple. And I thought it'd be a cute movie for us to kind of talk about and see what we like. Maybe some things we don't like, or some things that you just thought were like interesting.
I mean, there's certainly things that when I watch this movie, I'm like, as a kid, I didn't question it. But like as an adult, I'm like, I
was going to say, well,
weird.
Yeah, this movie's a little dated nowadays. It's probably a little dated here and there. But I think I saw it, roughly a decade after it was made. So
yeah.
Times are different then. No, not even that. I think it was also just like I said, there was something nostalgic about it watching it only 10 years after it was made. So that things were starting to change even back then. So okay, so I'm gonna dive into the beginning of this movie. And
wait, before I
do, I had to tell you something else. But yeah, what were you gonna say?
Drinks. What are you drinking?
Well, that's what I was going to tell you.
Oh.
And it's the same thing every week, everybody. You know why? Because I'm a Grinch, and I just drink the same thing in my own little cavern down here. If I had a little dog, I'd be the same person. So it's just another
from your basement.
It's my special drink of coffee and Kahlua. No, it's not Kahlua. It's actually my bourbon of choice that I like to drink down here, which is the E-dubs, as I call it. The E-dubs. Even Williams. Even Stevens. No, Evan Williams.
We got there. Evan Williams.
So what do you have tonight?
I have, what is it? Bronx Brewery, which we like. We've had
yes,
the Back to the Future beer from there.
Very good.
Which I think it was a Bronx Brewery beer.
I have it right here.
Yeah, we will always be riding that high of their.
Still trying to find that beer. So good.
Doesn't exist anymore. But this is
So
the
good.
Now Youse Can't Leave double
Yeah.
IPA.
How is it?
It's good. It's really like it has that like malty taste to it, which I don't really like IPAs that have that like malt to it. I like more of like a
hops.
Yeah, like a happy, like a lighter tasting. Like to me, this is very heavy, heavy. IPAs are usually heavy, but this is like really.
I may be assuming here. I think you like also more like the fruitier type of IPAs. Am I wrong about that?
This one, strangely enough, is a little fruity, but I do like fruitier IPAs, or like a hazy IPA.
Yeah. I like IPAs when they have that bitterness, but also have that little hint of sweet sometimes.
Yeah, just a little bit. I like the hazy IPAs because they're like they have that like sweetness and they taste like
those are good too.
It tastes like when you bite into like an apple.
They make you a little hazy too.
Yeah. I mean, this one is 10% alcohol, which is strong.
Like I said, once we get to 10, we'll start rolling.
This is not the appropriate movie either, I feel like.
No, I think it'd be good. I think it's going to be a good one. So like I said, I don't know any of your opinions on this yet. So I'm curious. Like, this is exciting for me. So for those of you listening, I just said to her, hey, have you seen Big? She said, not in a while. I'm like, great, go watch it. I think it'd be a fun movie for us to talk about because I really dearly love it. It'd be interesting to see how you feel about it. Just watching it now, if you like it, like it or not, find out. All right. So back what I was saying, the intro of this movie, we kind of open up with the kid. He's playing computer games. We get a sense of like kind of what he likes to do in his spare time, maybe. The boy who portrays Josh Baskin is the main character's name. I just know him as David. His real name is David Moscow, I believe. And he was in the Newsies also playing David, I think was his name in that movie.
Like the Disney. Oh yeah, Disney is.
Yes, the one with Christian Bale and Santa Fe. Hopefully we get to do that one. What?
Because I was thinking, why do I know him? And then his friend in the movie, which I don't know his name.
This was a while before Newsies too, so he was much younger here.
And then
did you know where his friend is from? Yeah, where's he from?
The Mighty Duck? No, not the Mighty Duck.
Nope. He is a Disney kid though.
Disney kid. Oh, is he in
3 guesses.
Is it Heavyweights? No.
Nope.
It's like that kind of movie though, right? Is it a sport movie?
No. He might be in something else, but actually, you know what? He is in a movie before this came out. I believe a year before this came out. He was a kid as the son of another. Actually, this would be a great movie to do. I don't think there's much music in it, but I'll give you a hint. Kurt Russell plays his dad in this movie. It's one of these cult classic, not even cult classic, just classic Kurt Russell movies, and he plays one of his 4 boys. Hold on, forget how many he has.
I have no idea.
And it
what
portrays
you're
him and his wife in this movie. Any hints now?
No, I don't know.
Oh, come on, think about it. What's the big movie with him and his wife?
Wait, with him and his wife? Like in real life, his wife?
Yeah.
Well, they're not married. Like whatever.
Oh, right. Oh, I'm sorry, they're not married, but they are.
It was the movie that just came out recently. It's the Santa movie. Oh, they did something else together? Oh, Overboard.
There we go.
Yes, Overboard. I got it. Yes.
What do we got for her? Survey says. Correct. So he plays one of his sons in that, but that's still not the movie. I was trying to get you to guess where he's from. All right, I'll give it to you. Ready?
Okay.
Honey, I Shrunk the Kids. He's the neighbor's
he's the neighbor,
kid.
the little kid.
Yeah.
Oh,
and he's great.
God.
And he's great. I hated him in that movie, but you're supposed to. He's an annoying kid, but he's actually not that bad in that movie. Watching it again as an adult, but he stands out in this movie. I think this is his best thing he did.
Yeah, he's so good in this movie.
He's great in Overboard, but I love him the best in this movie. So, playing off of Tom Hanks, that's not easy. He does a great job with that.
Of course.
Thinking about it now, there's a lot of things you don't think about. So, let's go back and see how all these actors are kind of what they're dealing with now. So anyways, we open up with meeting Josh as a kid. He's he's okay kid. He's like decently, he's a smart kid,
Mhm.
but he's having the troubles of like, popularity, and he's got a crush on this girl, and
Yeah.
uh, long story short, we find out that he goes to a carnival with his parents and his family, and he's not big enough to go on one of the rides. I've never had that problem. I have had the
I know
exact
too.
opposite problem, probably, that I was too big to be on rides.
I mean, you can't tell from our video, and if
I
you're
was gonna
listening to
say,
us, you really
this is
don't know.
not
But like,
portraying me well.
Chris is a tall. Chris is very tall. When we stand
I'm
next to
actually
each
sitting
other,
on the floor right now for people at home trying to watch this. They don't know that, but
there's like a great picture of us hanging out one night. We did like a prom pose, and you're just like towering over me.
really? Oh, I gotta
Yeah,
see
you know.
that.
Yeah, I have to dig it up. It's from like a year or two ago, but
Is it
we did like a
one of
prom thing, and you're like 2
our
feet taller than
roles?
me.
You're not alone. You're one of the rest of the percentage of people I know who have the same issue. But so he's the sign comes here and he's like, yeah, you're not big enough, kid, whoever the guy is telling him that. And he finds himself the Zoltar. What a cool name.
Terrifying Zoltar.
Actually, I think that's Zoltan, but Zoltar is there, and it's a magical wish machine that we used to see at the carnivals, and just
Mm-hmm.
the magic of
And
no
it's
electricity. When it works off of no
so-
electricity,
no electricity at all. Zoltar.
this thing had a super battery
alive.
that was magical. Exactly.
Whenever I see one of these things in real life nowadays, you automatically think of this movie. Like even if
Yeah.
you're not super familiar with the movie, Zoltar is big.
And as soon as I put
And-
that quarter in to get in his mouth, I'm thinking, man, I wish I was smaller. I mean,
That's my first
shorter.
I wish I was shorter.
Mm-hmm. Guys, gotta be
What's
careful
that?
when we
What's
say
that song?
those
Oh, I wish
things.
I was taller. I wish I was a baller. You know the song.
Yes.
Wish I had a girl I would call her.
So we're fast forwarding the beginning here, but then we finally catch up to, we know enough about him. But before I get to there, we also, the friendship between him and the kid from Honey I Shrunk the Kids, Billy is his name. What's his last name? Kopecky. So the relationship they have is really great because they sing this song together, and I think that's what I kind of wanted to talk about, is that they sing the song. I wish I should have memorized the song before I did, but that's okay.
Oh my God,
you can watch the movie and they do it perfectly. What's it from? It's like an old song that people sing.
Oh, I don't know.
Down, down, baby. Dun, 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 dun. Shimmy, shimmy, cocoa pie, shimmy, shimmy. It's so catchy. But like, so they sing that song all the time, and it's like they're so they have a great bond, is what I have to say. And it sets up like this whole idea of like that their friendship is kind of the drive in this movie that like makes things happen, if you really want to think about it.
Like when Tom Hanks
so like I was gonna say, so like, right, he wakes up and he becomes Tom Hanks, and now he's just like, what do I do?
He goes to like, well, he goes to his mom. His mom is like,
yeah, his mom thinks that he's some person who just broke into the house, and she's freaking out. You would think first to be like, excuse me, what are you doing in my house, kind of thing, not like screaming and crying, but like I guess they live in a rough neighborhood where people just randomly show up in the homes.
I mean, they live in New York. I'm always curious I was curious where they live. I don't know if it's like Westchester or like Long Island.
Yeah, I always thought it was Long Island.
They took a bus, so it might be far.
So yeah, I thought either Long Island or somewhere else close by, Westchester or something like that. But what I do love is Tom Hanks wears that because his clothes don't fit, obviously, now that he magically turns into an old man, but 30-something-year-old man.
Probably like 30
and he's like,
old,
he's got to go get his dad's clothes. But that blue giant sweater, I feel like all of us had one of those growing up. I think I had.
Yeah,
like them.
Definitely. Or like something similar to that giant thing.
Immediately, I relate with that, seeing him wearing that blue New York Giants sweater.
Yeah, or like my dad had one. Someone in my house had one growing up.
Yeah, like one of our dads, or like anybody we know, older brothers, siblings, had that sweater.
Had it.
Yeah, cousins of mine, who knows? But growing up in New York, everybody had that blue New York Giants sweater. But it's great because he's freaking out. He's like on the verge of just like, desperation, and I think he leaves the house first. Someone correct me if I'm wrong. I always get this part mixed up, or because he wakes up, his mother sees him, I believe, right? or
Uh,
no, or he sneaks out of the house and then
oh,
he
he
comes
leaves
back
and
and
then
then the
goes
mom
back,
sees
I
him.
think.
Okay, so that makes sense because
Yeah.
he runs to, who does he run to? He runs to his best friend.
Yeah.
He's like, the only person who's going to believe me right now is my best friend Billy.
Mm-hmm.
And the fact that he's, even the kid who plays Billy, he's just like, he freaks out the same way his mom does. And it's just like, he starts crying. He thinks like this guy's a predator about to kill him.
Yeah.
He was very scared.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Because he like
and I
approached him
love
in the
that
locker room
about
of
it.
gym class, and it's like,
Well, he's poor kid. He can't even catch a break. He can't be on the team. He cleans up the basketballs. He can't do a layup.
yeah,
Billy,
yeah.
he's
Oh.
got like only one friend. Who knows who other friends he might have that money. So
Right.
he's got this poor kid. You feel bad for him as well. And
Mm-hmm.
so I was just like thinking like, but I love how when he says, when he just like, what's gonna make him believe me, and it's that song.
Yeah,
And it's like that
that really
song
long
is
song.
the key to be like, hey,
Mm-hmm.
nobody knows this like we do. And I find that to be, I don't know, something special. Like if you have a best friend, you have a family member, whoever it is, and there's
Mm-hmm.
just something like, say if you don't see a relative for a long time and you get together with them, it's like you don't miss a beat.
Yeah,
And I think that's like
yeah.
kind of like it feels like for me. So I love
I think
that.
like we can relate to it because everyone has like inside jokes and stuff like that. Like we all have our friends and we all have specific jokes with them. So like that really hits home with that one
Like you,
person in
like
your
you and
life
me,
that you
Vex,
have.
right? Right.
No, it's true. We do though. Like there's
Small
certain things
hands.
that
What
I
am I
can
referring
only.
to?
Oh, small hands.
See, no one knows but me and you.
I mean, it could mean anything to anyone, but it
I know what it
means
means.
something else. Yeah, I mean, we all have these certain things with our close friends that we joke
Yeah.
about and that we only understand. So I'm sure if like you said small hands to a stranger, they'd be like, "What the hell is he talking about?"
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. If like he was, but that's the thing. It was so funny that only a child would believe him, not his mother. When he
Oh
goes
yeah, she
back
wouldn't
and
even
tries to
listen to
explain,
him.
Mom, I know all
Yeah,
this is, and she's just freaking
yeah,
out. What'd you do to my kid? And I
yeah.
don't know who you are. Where's my kid? So
Hmm.
I think that's also the importance. Like, what does a child see? What does an adult see?
Yeah.
So it's a very cool thing. Like I said, I've seen this movie so many times to understand that. So I think
Yeah.
it's important to see like why that scene works. Why would the mother be like, excuse me, who are you? Why does she
Hmm.
just flip out? Because adults will judge you quickly like that.
Yeah. Well, that's the. I
And
think that's like
more
kind
so a
of like.
kid, but like even an adult.
Yeah. That's like kind of the not the point of the movie, but that's like one of the messages in the movie is that he's so quick to grow up and not be a kid. By the end of the movie, he's like, "No, wait, I want to be a kid," because he realizes that he's like, kids
Well, yeah.
experience the world differently. They see the world differently, and like, I want to be with my friend and do those things. I don't want
Hmm.
to be an adult.
Right. And that was,
Turn
I was going to
into
get to that when we get to that later. I want to go more into that, but
yeah,
yeah,
we can dive
absolutely right.
into it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So right. So he leaves. Luckily, Billy's there to help him when he gets out of New York, wherever he is. Westchester, you think it is?
Oh, wait,
I forget.
how does he get into the house? Okay, so there's like cops and stuff in the house, and Billy gets into the house to get I don't know, I forget what he goes into the house to
He sneaks
grab. Like
into.
clothes or
I thought
something?
it was his house. I thought it was his house. He had like it was his dad's stuff or something. I don't know. That's a good question. I know there's
Oh,
police
maybe it
cars
is.
there. I thought he was getting stuff out of his house, and then he was just trying to sneak by so that no one
Oh yeah, because
saw
they're
him.
neighbors. Right, you're
They're
right. You're right.
neighbors,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah.
So
They are
I
neighbors.
think
Yeah,
so.
you're
I
right.
think so. Anyone, maybe that is true. Correct me, but I'm pretty sure it was him just getting clothes, and that's why the outfits are so outdated. Like they're like 70s outfits. They're like really funny. That he has to get for Tom Hanks. So before I go to the next scene or the next part of this, I wanted to give a little backstory about Tom Hanks. Not a backstory, but just something I read or something I saw about him.
Okay.
Like I think he spent like a day with that kid who portrays young Josh.
Like outside of the
And
set.
right. So he got to learn him and learn how he behaves and all that, just kind of like embody him so he
Hmm.
can learn what is the character of Josh as a kid. And
Yeah.
just like he probably just like, okay, that's how he is as a kid. And I'm sure or the character, maybe not so much, but like little things he tried to incorporate. I think it's like a day or something like that, he said. And he was,
Hmm.
and based off of that, that's basically it. That's all he needed.
Yeah, I mean, he does. Tom Hanks is He's a god. He's so good at what he at his crafts, and I love him. And he does a really great job in this movie of embodying that. Like, you fall in love with him when she's falling in love with him because he has that naivety.
Why
and he's
is that,
like
Becky?
so adorable. Because I mean, you're not a, a female, so like I guess you don't see like what makes him special. But
No, it's
just
not that.
he has
But
this
I
purity about him.
understand. That's the word I was looking for. There's an innocence to him. He doesn't know
Yes.
any different. He's not
Yes.
trying to be anything else. He's trying to be him, which is a 13-year-old.
Yes.
And the funny thing is
Yeah.
how he tries so little because he knows he's not an adult. And I was going to get to this later, but like he's trying to be something else as a kid, right? He wants to be bigger because he can't get with whoever. Now he's adult. He can get with, not to say he can get with anybody, but he's not trying to get with anybody. He's trying to go back sort of, or he's trying to fit in to where his new state is. And he doesn't have to try at all. He just has to be, you know? And I find that to be an important message also on top of all this. You know, it's kind of under the surface of the regular story of him just trying to get back to become a kid because he, you know, this happened by accident and he's got to figure out where Zoltar is in order to do that. But all this time, he's got to figure out how to be an adult just to blend in. So it's interesting. I don't know. I find it interesting. What would you do?
No, what would I do if it happened to me?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know. Good question. I have no idea.
I think this movie answers a lot of questions. How to get a job in like a minute.
I'm gonna I know, like how do you fake a social security number and someone believe you?
Yeah. But I love how it's Billy that like helps him get a job so quick too. They're like, all right, let's look for the ads and then we got an interview the next day or something.
He's in computers or whatever he does.
Well, yeah. And then he's a very smart kid. That's something we actually find out later down the road. Like all the things he does know. Obviously, he's a kid that he would be more familiar with all those things. But it's almost like he's a computer whiz and he can do all this computer programming. And then he just happens to be like this, you know, genius business idea man on top of it. So, all right. So I'm getting ahead, but like, yeah. So he gets hired for this job at a toy store where we meet. What's his name? I forget his name, but I love that guy who plays the
guy who owns the toy company.
Yeah.
I can't think of his name, but
man, what am I? I'm blanking on his name right now, and I just watched. It'll come.
Something with an M.
But yeah, but like, oh, before we go into him getting the job, but like, I want to talk about that interview scene. One of my favorite lines.
Oh.
He's talking. Did you laugh at this part? I don't know if you remember, but like, he's talking to the guy interviewing him, and and the guy's like, he goes like, where did you go to school? And he goes like, it was called George Washington. And he goes, OGW. And he goes like, I have a brother-in-law that went there or something like that. And he goes like, did you pledge? And he goes like, yes, every morning. That's so funny.
Yeah, that seems really funny.
Because Tom Hanks says, he's like, so seriously too. He's like, yeah. Oh my God. So funny. All right. So really fast forward again. I was saying back to he gets the job at toy stores, just doing computers. He meets one of the best cameos ever. John Lovitz.
John Lovitz.
Cubicle guy next to him.
I just recently watched Rat Race. So like,
oh, he's so good in Rat Race.
He's so funny.
He's great in everything. I just love him.
Wedding
I can listen to him talk for like years.
He's so creepy in this movie though. Like it bothers me. I like don't remember his character.
Oh yeah, he plays a weasel character. But that
it's like, ugh.
Yeah, they were all kind of weasel guys though. It was showing the male figure is pretty gross in this movie.
Yeah.
Especially Mr. McAllister, Peter McAllister. I forgot his name too. Who plays
oh yeah, he's from Home Alone. You're right. Oh my God.
Yeah. That's in my notes. I put Home Alone guy is a jerk. So that's why I'm like, what's his name?
He is a jerk.
But Peter McAllister. Well, yeah, he's the biggest jerk in this movie. And but rightfully so, because he needs the competition. We need kind of a villain character. We get it to be him.
And he like fits that.
He needs a competition, you know. We meet Susan, I think right in the beginning of the interview process as well.
Yeah, she walks.
What's her name? I call her Wilma from Flintstones. But yeah,
she is Wilma from the Flintstones, but
yeah. And Miracle on 34th Street, if you ever saw the remake.
I have not.
You're not missing much.
Sorry.
It's all right. I do like John
I
Hammond's
remake the
Kris
original.
Kringle.
It's a classic.
Yeah, but John Hammond's in it, and I like him. So
Yeah.
and he basically is John Hammond, just without dinosaurs.
Dressed
So
as Santa Claus.
yeah. But okay, so back to what I was saying about like meet Susan. We get to the toy store and we get to the owner, and then he's just like and John Lovitz obviously, and then he's amazed he gets money for the first time. It's like $187.
Yeah, $187. Hey,
it's money.
Even when I was a kid, I think I was blown away by the things he was able to buy with $187. And like nowadays, rent is like $1,300 in Manhattan, and you get like a shoebox. But he has like a Coke machine and a trampoline.
Right, and
what?
I think also the money difference also too back then compared to today is a lot different. But to actually have money at all, and what does he do with it? He goes to the bank and he cashes it right away.
And he gets like what is it, $177 in ones and
yes,
dimes and nickels or something stupid.
Yes, he's like was it $100 bills and 87 ones or something like that. She's like, okay, but yeah, and then I think we're gonna get to the big what everyone who's seen this movie knows, the big moment in this movie. It's on the cover. He goes to FAO Schwartz, beautiful little store up in Manhattan. Have you been there? I'm sure you have.
It's not open anymore.
Well, I'm saying in general, have you been there in your life?
Oh yeah, I used to go there every year during Christmas time. We would go to FAO Schwartz when I was
okay, so you're actually more familiar than I am actually with going there. I got to go there 2-3 years ago. It was the end of 2018. I got to go there. So
I think it closed shortly after that.
It was like, they were like redoing things, but I at least felt nice. I got to go with family there. It was like their first trip there. They have little ones, so I like to see it from their eyes. It was interesting. But it was just so cool. Like Tom Hanks is there. He's just like in toy heaven. He's playing. I love the scene where he's playing laser tag with another kid, and he says to him, and it just is such a kid thing to do, where they're playing. He goes like, "What's your name?" It's like, "I'm whoever." It's like, I'm Josh. Nice to meet you. As I'm shooting you, because it's just kids being kids, like having fun.
Kids would do that. They're like playing. They're like, "Where are you from?"
Like on the playground, right? You see a
Yeah.
kid like chasing you, having fun with. I don't know you, but what's your name? Josh. Cool. I'm Tim or something. I don't know.
That would definitely happen.
I like that. I like that little touch there. Too. So, like I said, the music score is really pretty in this. It's a lot of piano based, and I think it's important because it comes to this scene where he's talking. He just meets the owner. He bumps into him there, and they're talking toys. And who knows toys better than a child? And it's like your key to success is the actual source itself.
Yeah.
And he's the key to making business changes and ideas like that, which is I remember, I think I was in elementary school, so I just saw the movie maybe that year or maybe year before, and I remember reading an article that like all the kids got like in some newspaper or something like that the kids would get every, like a big article like the kids are now involved in something, and it's like the kids are now doing exactly what he did. And I remember being called on and saying the example of this movie to my teachers and be like, some kid made a new toy invention or something, and be like, "Have you ever seen Big?" And they're just being like, "Yeah, I love that movie." I don't know. Some of my nice teachers would be like, "I think I saw that movie barely," and then I'd be like, "Yeah." So same thing, he was a kid and he was working with the toy people, and that's how he was able to like know everything. And they're just like, "That's a very good point there, Christopher." And no, they didn't talk like that at all. But it was just, I would always make that parallel. I think if I ever had an answer in school, I'd try to give an example of a movie as the answer. So every time this movie came in handy. But yeah, and it's just great. I love just like their chemistry, and he's just like, he's innocent. He's just an innocent kid, just like trapped in a guy's body. But he still has like no, what's the word? he has no understanding that of like what people expect of him, sort of.
Mm-hmm.
You know, as an adult, they expect you to do A and B, or they expect you to have this kind of professionalism, how you talk to each other, and he doesn't understand that. He just talks to everybody scared because he really doesn't understand anything. But everything he says, literally, they take like not literally, yeah, and they think like, oh, that's they kind of be like, you're right. Like, what does he say to him? He goes like, he says, what's a something report? And he goes like,
oh
exactly. So,
and he's being
okay,
fully
sorry.
serious. And he's like, oh,
I'm beating around the bush here because I want to get to the best scene ever, where it's the piano scene.
Yes.
And they play Heart and Soul together, and it's just like, what a cool thing. Whoever thought of that idea, like, it was just like, we're gonna have this cool moment of them playing piano with their feet. How fun is that?
Well,
So
I mean, we should talk about the filmmaker. We could. I don't know how familiar you are with Penny Marshall at all.
Well, of course,
but she directed this movie.
Yeah.
I don't know if she wrote it, but she did direct it. So maybe we should give her credit for this.
Yeah. And Penny Marshall is who exactly? I mean, I know.
I grew up with Laverne and Shirley when I was a kid. Right. Reruns with my parents, which were reoccurring characters on the Happy Days. Actually, I think they go back even further than that to something else, but I'm not sure. But she also directed A League of Their Own. She played the master's wife in Hocus Pocus.
Mm-hmm.
Also, the sister of oh my God, Gary Marshall? No.
Yes.
Gary Marshall, who plays the master in Hocus Pocus as well. But she passed away, I think, like a year or two ago.
Yeah. So Gary, we all love Gary. Gary Marshall is like the granddaddy of a lot of those great, American iconic movies, films, and television. So, it only makes sense that this would kind of add to that flavor of type of movie. It's family fun, kind of.
Yeah.
You could tell it would be like a Gary Marshall, Penny Marshall type of movie. And I believe, and Overboard is a Gary Marshall movie. So there you go.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah. So it has that flavor. I love it.
She was also married to Rob Reiner, I think, for a little bit too.
Yeah, I think so. But yeah, and I remember, like, I'm close to this song because it was one of the first songs I learned to play piano, and it's something special about, like, again something about their introducing playing music together, not just alone, singing together, playing together. I find that really important. There's something that we lose now, especially nowadays. Playing alone. Times like this, I've been playing more alone than ever. That you can't. And it's like it's the lightning bolt in a bottle. You can't explain when chemistry is right. And obviously this is a movie, and it's it's all like, but to say that would happen might be a decent percentage. A lot of people know that song, and like, hey, you play that part, I play this part. That's the kind of thing that probably would happen.
Yeah.
And it's
I think it's important that they're playing those, like, they're playing that, and then they do chopsticks, which are like, I don't play the piano. Songs. You play the piano, but that's something I know how to play, because you learn it so quickly, and like that's the first thing you learn really on piano.
A lot of people learn that as like easy ways to teach someone a quick song. Chopsticks and Heart and Soul. Heart and Soul is one of those songs that I play all the time. I think my brother learned it. I learned it from my cousins or my mom, and I think my mom actually showed me how to do that. But then it was like, I think it was in high school or some time. I like finally sat down and tried to play both parts at the same time. I finally can do it. So,
because like they're doing it separately.
It's hard,
but you need two hands in order to do it alone.
Yeah. So I forget. I think it was Tom Hanks said this, that like, because what is that actor's name? I got to look it up as I'm going to tell the story, and then I'm going to look this up. But he had to do a lot of jump rope for this scene, because it's a lot of jumping on your feet and like dancing. And that other guy, he was like old school, like theater or something, and dancing. Yeah, and he moves, and he said Tom Hanks had to try to keep up with him, like like for that.
Yeah, because you watch him go up, and he jumps so high, and then at the end of it, you can like see Tom Hanks like adjusting his pants to get into like the dialogue. Like, that was. I mean, I'm assuming they did that in one. It's one take. that piano scene. I don't think they cut it in any way.
It's incredible too. Like, oh yeah, like I don't know if it was one take. It might have been. I think so. But it was just like so cool to see, like, people move their feet like that and play music. You never seen that before, really. Like, people playing with their feet. Like, how like you just automatically want to go jump on one of those things. And
because they're like,
so anyways,
they're big on a little piano.
And I just love that scene, and I'm sure everyone does. Did you love that scene?
Yeah, I like when you think of this movie, you think of Zoltar one, and you also think of the piano. Like,
yeah,
it's so iconic to this movie, and like when you think of even FAO Schwartz, you think of the giant piano being set up in the
right.
store.
If you want to go to FAO Schwartz, you're looking
it.
for that piano, which I did see, by the way. I did see it.
They had it. Yeah.
It was a long line.
I think there was always a line.
You get about 10 seconds.
Yeah, there was a line
I was
to play.
Just like, oh, we were waiting online. I think my cousin got to take his son to try it. I think he was able to get on it. I think, but hold on one second. This is gonna bother me because
I don't know.
My computer is very slow over here. And
we need to know
his name is, the winner is there. I knew this all along. I was going to say this name and I thought it was wrong, but I was right. Robert Loggia.
Oh,
is the name of Macmillan. That's the name of it. I know it was an M. I was like, blanking on the name.
Yeah, I said M
wrote
before.
It down. Whatever, that was my bad. But Robert Loggia. I can't do his voice. I was going to try to do his voice for you, but I can't do it.
I'm pretty sure there's like a Family Guy.
Way to go, Josh.
Yeah.
yeah, I think it is. Yeah,
there's like a Family Guy joke with him. Yeah. But yeah, that scene is so iconic. Like,
it's great. All right. Well, we got to the big part of that. I want to get to, obviously, but I'm gonna try to kind of speed things up a little bit tonight. I'm not gonna skip over too much, but I just want to kind of like hit all the main parts, and then we can give our kind of overall thoughts, if that's okay with you.
No, that's okay.
Like I said,
I have not watched this
because it turns into this kind of transitions from there. You're getting all the fun into this.
Yeah.
Okay, he's getting the fun now of being a kid as an adult, learning about being an adult a little bit, and he just miraculously, this old man falls in love with him, gives him this great big office, this great big position
Very
out of
important
nowhere,
job.
and he's a whiz at it. He's a natural at this job because, like we said, who's better at a job about toys than a kid, and that's why he knows all of this stuff. And he sensed that right away. This like the crazy old man Robert Loggia could tell all about this from meeting him outside of work, having that special piano bond with each other. But then it's like but you see, like, this is the transition. They go to that party, you see Susan always has a fling for the next big guy. On campus, basically, or at the job, which is like kind of, I know what you're gonna think, like, why is she just like that, very kind of like cold, not cold, but very just like doesn't seem to have any self-pride in what she does, and she's just all about like kind of not the warmest cup of tea. But you could see that she's been closed off from these doors for a while, because she's been treated a certain way. I think you don't really get to know her character that well, but she's love
jaded,
how they
slightly jaded.
And like, she's been with the whatever guy, the Home Alone guy before him. But still, I love how she makes, like you said, what was it that she starts seeing him differently, and she sees him like differently for one reason, like the position, but there is something different about him that's already grabbing her attention. But then as she spends more time with him, she finds herself being more interested on a level of like, wow, this guy really, there's just pure nothing else more to him except exactly what he is, like truth and a good-hearted person. He has no agenda for them.
And I think that's something that even today speaks a lot, because I think we live in a world of like quick dating and like Tinder and stuff like that, and like
Right.
intentions or whatever they are. And I think there are a lot of people that kind of feel the way she does in this movie. So I think to see Tom Hanks's character and the way he acts, that's why like I mean I am female and I kind of identify with this character because I can understand how she feels a little bit. So I think her that's I relate more to her than Tom Hanks' character in this movie because I can
All
see
right.
like
Fair.
her.
And
I
yeah,
can see why she falls in love with him. I can see the appeal of him and like why she has this attraction to him.
it's kind of like that 40-year-old
And as
virgin
like a
attraction where, yeah,
yeah, kind of,
where he
and
really
also like
is just kind of so innocent that she
yeah,
finds him. She finds this will
yeah,
to want to see what he has more to offer in that
hmm
way,
yeah,
that's something she's probably missing in her life, and that he can kind of come and kind of help either complete that, or what we find out, it's not going to be the right
yeah,
fit, but it's going to be something that she should be deserving of, that I think she hasn't really give herself the
yeah,
chance, meeting all these other kind of sleazeballs, and she treats herself probably not the best either,
yeah,
so, but like, yeah, but that's what I love about this. It's showing the true nature of people in a
hmm
good way, and how
yeah.
we tend to
That's why I
perceive
love
life differently.
that trampoline scene um
Right. It's
after the
like,
party
wake up
and
your inner child, and he
yeah.
does it
And she's like,
effortlessly
I don't
because
want to
he's not
jump on the
trying.
trampoline. And it's like, why? Everyone must jump on a trampoline. Come on. But like he like literally
Right.
like pulls
Yeah.
her up on the
Although
trampoline
I have to say, jumping on a trampoline as an adult, very different than jumping on a trampoline as a kid. I don't know if you have lately.
that's I went to one of those trampoline parks. Like
Yeah.
this was okay,
Did
maybe
you
like
throw up
two,
in about
three. It
two
was like
seconds?
3 years ago. But it was rigorous.
You're hurt for 3 days. Your
I
body's not
didn't
used to
hurt. It
doing
was
that.
just like it was the stamina that I needed to do it. Also, I mean, my blood sugar is always an issue. So like
Right.
dealing with that, but like it was intense jumping and I mean I always have to go above and beyond. So like I used to
Yeah.
be able to do like flips and stuff. So I was like, I can do this. I like forced myself to do flips.
It's hard. It's
Um,
yeah. Maybe you had a really big one in space to do it, but like I would do it too. But like, man, if I did like one little flip or something, like I would
I
wake
would,
up
yeah.
just like nauseous, and be like, oh my gosh, I got so nauseous so quick, because you're not used to spinning and turning so fast like that. Your
Yeah.
brain is just like all dizzy. But yeah, so, but like I said, it's so cool. He gets this amazing apartment too in the city out of like a
Yeah.
day. I
Oh
don't
my
know how.
God. Yeah, that's not
Beautiful loft
possible. His
apartment.
apartment is like absolutely gorgeous. And
I
like
want
they're
Pepsi
jumping
every
on that
time I see it
trampoline
too.
with the big windows and I'm like, where do they live?
Gorgeous. Yeah. And that you could see them through the window too, jumping up and down.
Well, I think that's important because she didn't want to jump. And then the scene ends with her on display kind of for New York to see her like jumping on the trampoline. I like that because it just shows
Yeah,
it's just
and
like
he
her.
has like his own toy world in his own apartment, which is
Oh
just
my God,
like
it's
the
amazing.
best.
I want that apartment. And like
We all
I
do.
hate
I
that I'm
know, it's
like
so
30
fun.
years old and I'm like, I need that apartment.
We're
The
gonna we're
Gumby
gonna get
chair.
we're gonna work up to it one day. But yeah, it's just like I said at that scene, like I think as a kid when I first saw it, I'm like, oh my gosh, that looks like it is like a fantasy world for a kid to
Yeah.
have their
Yeah.
own just huge space for themselves, and just like
Fill it with
it's
whatever
really
you want.
cool. Yeah, it's fun. But like I love how he goes, you want to sleep over, and this is like the more innuendo jokes in here, and she
Yeah.
goes like, all right, and he goes like, okay, that I get to be on top.
It's like, oh
I
no.
laugh every time now he says that,
Every time I hear
and
that,
I
I'm like,
love it. And she's like,
well, yeah.
okay.
Okay, that was very straightforward, but it really
Yeah.
wasn't. He was just didn't understand
And
what he
then
was saying.
it's just the bunk bed he's referring to.
And he gives her that mood ring, and I love it. It's such a great. He's like the
Oh,
compass,
that is
the
beautiful.
compass glow in the dark ring,
Yeah, it's sweet.
and he's like, so
Yeah.
you don't get lost. And it's like, oh,
Well,
come on.
but yeah, so we get to like they then they start officially dating, and she's like
Yeah,
definitely now almost head over heels for him, because the way he treats her. He treats her with a lot of respect and just care as a friend, as a new best friend, which he,
Yeah.
but as he's, developing feelings for her, he's not understanding them as well.
Mm-hmm.
And I love that scene where they're like sitting down and she's questioning him, like, basically,
Yeah.
where's this going? What
What
are we
are
doing?
we? Yeah.
And he goes like, and he just like is so confused, and then he thinks
He, like,
it's just a
throws
funny
something
joke.
at her, right?
Like it's so, it's like a perfect reaction of a kid. You're like, I don't know what you're talking about. Even as an adult, I'm sure you'd be like, I don't know what you're talking about. But it's just like, but it's how different of importance it is to him to understand that as a kid, and then having her like, really wanting more out of him, because he seems to be this mystery character. We don't know like what his deal is. And it's like she thinks still he has like a secret agenda, which he really doesn't.
Yeah.
It's just that like his agenda is to go back to being a child. So
yeah, that's like really he doesn't have an agenda. Like it was luck he
yeah.
got this job, and that's really it. Like
Yeah. It would be interesting. So I'm fast forwarding, they fall in love, blah, blah, blah. No, like, they have that, he actually gets to redeem himself as an adult, being able to go on the rides with her, which is pretty sweet though too.
yeah, I know, I do like
I think
that
that's
moment.
that's something awesome too. Like he's like,
Yeah.
well, I didn't get to do this yet, but he wanted to know what it felt like, so he at least got to. And realizing, is it everything he hoped it had been? Probably, but like, he needed to experience that to understand.
Yeah.
And he got to do it as not the correct age, but at least
Yeah.
he's not feeling left out again.
This isn't directly related, but there's a line later on where he's like to her, when he needs to turn back, when he decides he's gonna go back, he's like to her, come with me, and she's like, no, I've done this already, which to me is like such a like it's a great line, because he hasn't, and like that's more of a reason for him to go back, because he got to experience the ride that he wanted to be big, and he wanted to go on the rides, he wanted the girl, he got that, but he didn't get any of the in-betweens, and she did. And I think that says a lot when she says that, like, I did this already.
Yeah.
Like, I've done all of this. I have all this experience.
Yeah. Well, also, I kind of skimmed over this, but I wanted to talk about their dance scene at the carnival, wherever that is, and that jazz band.
Oh yeah, it is. Yeah, yeah.
I don't know. I forget what song that is, but I love that. I love that saxophone or whatever that style of jazz music is smooth jazz, whatever you call it. I don't even know what you call it. It's like romantic jazz. I love it. Yeah. It's really calming. Yeah. I love hearing that style of music in almost every movie. I don't know why I don't hear enough of it, but yeah, it's just like, I don't know. I like, I miss it. So there's something nostalgic about that scene for me every time I watch it. Something about the sweater he wears too.
Yeah, like romance movies of the 90s like had songs like that in like the very romantic scene, like and
the
it
80s.
fits so well. Yeah.
Yep.
Well, yeah, 80s. This is 88, but 80s, 90s.
Yeah, in the early 90s. I don't know. It just reminds me of like all my parents and their friends that want to go do something like that too. It's like that's what they would go do. And I'm like, as an adult now, it's like, why don't we do more of this? It's like we really can't now. But it was also just like it just wouldn't happen.
Yeah,
it doesn't.
I think that's the moment too when he realized, like he as a child realizes the situation that he's in, because like he's scared. The next scene is when they whatever they do it.
That's a funny scene.
I don't know what to say because he's 13 years old and it's
Did
so
you feel
weird.
awkward watching that? I think they do a good job of it too, but
it's so awkward because he feels
it's awkward.
So it's awkward because he's 13 and she's not 13. Well, it doesn't matter if they're 13 or not. It's so weird, but like
but
he does a good job of being 13. Tom Hanks, he does a good job.
Like I think the more importance of that scene is like how would a 13-year-old and like react to this right now, and that's exactly how it probably would go. There's like him just like being just overwhelmed and scared. There's no denying of that. So I love that scene where he turns the light back on, like, whoa.
He's like, I need to see all of this. And she's like, oh, you want the light on?
It's awkward, but I think
he doesn't know anything.
He doesn't know any better. He doesn't know. I think like it's one of those, you feel awkward and funny watching it, but you learn him as a character and like what he does in those situations, and he has no idea. But like she's also, not feeling embarrassed or weird, like, why are you acting this way? I'm gonna go take off. Like, that's usually, I would think, also someone might react to that.
Oh, yeah,
But
true, I guess.
but like I said, because she thinks he's like this 40-year-old virgin, basically, that she gets to like kind of open up that world of his that he
Yeah.
hasn't got to see yet.
Yeah.
It's a little, yes, it is a little weird, risque, and awkward, but I understand it more now as an adult, clearly.
Yeah, I understand it. It's just still cringy because he's 13. It's like,
Yes, yes. Inside, there's a little kid in there, right?
weird.
But that's the power of Tom Hanks as an actor too. He makes it creepier because he's just so good at it.
Yeah, that's what it is. Though. It's not like, Tom Hanks and this woman. It's like, Tom Hanks playing a 13-year-old and this lady.
Yeah.
It's like, oh.
Yeah. But so this is my other thing. I wanted you to I was going to ask you this. Oh, did you ever think about this? I just thought of this too. Like, you're a huge Tom Hanks fan, and the thing, like I was saying before, like he kind of learned this character through the actual actor of the kid who plays Josh.
Yeah.
And did you know, like, when he learned to portray Forrest Gump, he basically did the same thing.
Oh, wow.
The boy who plays young Forrest talks like that, or talked like that.
Oh, wow.
So where we get a lot of the famous sayings or a lot of the character choices of Tom Hanks just talking like that is because he literally just did an imitation of how that kid spoke.
Oh,
So
wow.
like,
I didn't know that.
I'm Forrest Gump. Like, that's how the kid would talk.
Ew, that was so good. Ew.
And was it good?
Your impression was really good.
It wasn't even for this movie, but still. But like, I just like how, but he talks like, he goes like, the kid would be like, all right, say something. Because he goes like, I'm really not doing much. It's all coming from him. He's like, he is the embodiment of what I'm doing. And all he had to do was just kind of practice how he spoke. And that's kind of where the voice came from, Forrest, which is pretty incredible. But to think about it, what's the difference between these two characters? Forrest is very much a child trapped in a man's body in that movie. If you really want to analyze it, like he talks and thinks exactly the way he was as a kid, and he's just doing exactly what he's told as a kid. There's like no difference until like he finally does get challenged in an adult way and he speaks back, and I think that's when, the famous line, like, do you love me, Jenny? And I see a lot of the parallels is what I'm saying between that movie and this movie as a character. Obviously I have no life and I just spent a lot of time thinking about this, but I don't know, it's just kind of,
well, no, I've seen Forrest Gump way more times than I've seen this movie, so
I agree. I've seen that movie way more times than this movie, and I still love both of them for different reasons. So but I could watch this movie in half the amount of time, so because Forrest Gump's in 5 hours.
Forrest Gump is very long.
But okay, so I'm about to wrap up here. I think we kind of hit all the notes. I just wanted to get to a little bit of the end at the end credits, but we like we said, he finally gets to find this old tar and he comes back to be a kid. But there's this great moment before that where he realizes like this is what I want to say. His friend Billy confronts him like, hey, I found let's go back, we found the machine. And he's just like,
he acts like an adult.
I'm busy right now. He's like, what are you talking about? You're busy. Like, you don't have time to be busy. Like, just you could drop everything. No one's gonna care.
Yeah, no one cares.
You literally can walk out this door, go exactly where I'm telling you, and end it right now. And but he got consumed in the world of being an adult. And I think that's the other important message of this movie. Adulthood will consume you sometimes, and you forget what it is to be a kid or have a childlike mind or anything, like that you kind of put aside, and it just like it consumes you very quickly. So I just like how Billy needs to wake him up and be like, and this is something I think is very, very, very important in this movie. And I'm not for it, but I think this is thinking about it more so now today as an adult than as a kid. Like, I would never let this happen, but think about it this way. Okay, you know what I'm going to say, right? There is an F-bomb, a big one from our good friend. Yeah, you didn't catch it? You must have been.
On Disney Plus, they have an F-bomb?
And it's on Disney Plus. I know. This is what also freaked me out, because I'm like, I know it's in there because I heard it as a kid and it freaked me out a little bit. I'm like, this movie's like for kids. I'm like, all of a sudden they drop a huge F-bomb. It's really a PG-13 movie, but PG-13 was newer at the time. PG-13 didn't come out till a year later, 1989, when Temple of Doom came out. So it's like, you have to think like, all right, so this is the PG-13 era before PG-13. A lot of those movies were. But that being said, it's a PG-13 movie where you can get one F-bomb in there. But it's not even just an F-bomb. It's an F-bomb said by the youngest kid in this movie. Who says
Yeah.
it.
Wow.
Okay. The reason why it does work, though, thinking about it now, like I was surprised. We're very kind of strict with cursing in my household and things like that. We don't do it a lot ever, really. So that was just like a really big surprise to hear that. I like the rules that I apply to, like a kid will never say that, or I've never heard a kid say that at all. So unless it was just like, yeah, it was intentional like that. But I think with this, like he's using an F-bomb to an adult. I'm like, that would definitely not happen, right?
No.
And now I'm thinking about it. It's not to an adult. Who is it to? It's to his best friend.
Yeah.
And his best friend is blowing him off. And he's just mad. So it's like, what else are you going to say to your best friend? Why you wouldn't say it to an adult? You'd say it to your best friend when no adults are around, right? You probably like, that's a good time to use it. So now thinking about it, I'm like, it's not that he's saying it to adults. He's saying it to his kid best friend. Like, F you. And I love that. I just love that exchange he has. The kid is great in that scene. Thinking about it, it's really funny too. But and how he plays off of him, and he just says, and he goes, "And I'm 3 months older than you, a-hole," and he closes the door on him, like tell you off. But like, yeah. So and that becomes the scene where Tom Hanks has got to wake up. He goes back to his hometown and just revisits all the people.
I want to be a kid.
Yeah.
He, like realizes that he's like, I need to be this kid.
Yeah.
And I think there's also something to say in the way. Actually, no, because he doesn't say goodbye to her, Susan, whatever we're calling her. He just like
Susan?
walks out. He just leaves. He just like,
oh
bye.
yeah, in the meeting. Well, yeah, that was a little bit later, right? He has the meeting. He has a big meeting about this new comic book idea, and he's just like,
yeah, he just leaves, and it's
I
like,
gotta go.
well,
like this is not what I want. Yeah.
Yeah, and he just like walks away, and it's like, it always bothers me because it's like, he really doesn't get whatever their relationship was. He like doesn't understand it, and that's why he.
But that's good, and he's not supposed to.
Yeah, he's not supposed to understand it when she feels these strong feelings towards him, and
it's
just like,
it's sad that she was kind of a victim of that. If that's what you're like upset about,
but it also taught her. Actually, no,
she's learning from it
because there's no
she
one.
learned her own lesson from it. What has this taught her? Like, okay, I actually found someone I actually could trust and love and have a relationship with, it seemed, but there's always something wrong. Okay, maybe not wrong, but just like you said, like you just learn from it. Okay, it was wrong for him to keep going because it was not true. So it's like she deserves more truth to her life.
So. Yeah.
And that's how I look at it anyways. I think like she deserves a true person. He's never going to be correctly the person that she wants him to be because he's magically not. Even though physically he may seem like it. No, he really is. He's not right for that. So I think it there's definitely a message there for both sides of the guy and the girl relationship. At least that's what I'm watching it the other day. That's what I took away from it. And I think she does. She wakes up and she says, and I think that important part is the end when he turns back into a kid and she looks and he leans in for a kiss and she kisses his forehead. Very, very, very special because she realizes you're just a boy. I've been more than grateful to have, a relationship that seemed to be appropriate at the time, but like I'm, realizing that you need to go back to where you're from, and so do I. And I'm like, it's a nice like little send off to each other. And that.
So when he tells her that he's a kid, you know what it reminded me of? When
hold on one second. Where are you? Are you still there? I just got a phone call in the middle of this. I never get those.
Oh no, rude.
Yeah.
It reminded me of when Doc Brown tells Clara in Back to the Future 3 that he's from the future, and she's like. She slaps him and she's like, no.
Yeah, because she was secretly 13 too. We knew that.
That's what it is.
I thought so. As a kid, I think I brought this up. I thought she was way younger, and I was when I was younger when I watched that because he had white hair and she had dark hair, so I thought like she was like really young, and he was like super super old. Anyways,
No,
but
he just went gray at a young age. Also, what year did Back to the Future 3 come out?
90
Okay, nearby.
around
Anyway,
the same time. Yeah.
has nothing to do with what we're talking about, but just curious.
Yeah. Random thought.
There's also there's a moment. I can't remember where specifically in the movie it is, but they mix Heart and Soul with like that big theme. Like there's like a big
Big score,
theme
right?
in the movie.
Like the music of the
They
theme
like
music of
mix
the
them
movie.
together, and it's just like
I love
so perfect and so great. It's like
Ugh.
towards the end, and I can't remember what's.
I'm gonna
what
get
scene.
emotional. Think about it.
Yeah, it's so good.
It's
so
that
great, and you're like,
like if anybody goes back and listens to it, like it's at the end of the movie. I think you hear it more
Yeah.
so. But I like whatever that like however that theme can. I can't really sing it, but how that theme goes, it kind of just plays off of that song. And I love it's at the very end, like I said, like they have their send off, and then he gets to have that, like he has his best friend back, and it's like the perfect ending. And I just love how he's just like, you hear that slow playing of Heart and Soul in the background. It gets me every time. Every time I watch this movie, every time, I don't know why I start hearing that piano play. I just get like so caught up in it.
yeah,
I love it. I love it. And I'm just like, oh, because that was the highlight of the movie, clearly. But it's also just like Heart and Soul, like that's him and his friend. They're the heart and soul. I don't know.
yeah. No, it's true.
Kind of...
Like that's what it is. Like he does that whole thing in FAO Schwartz and like with another person, and it's like, but no, the heart and soul of this movie are him and his friend, because his friend is the one who helped bring it back.
And I just
and his friend is the reason why he wants to go back. So
yeah, and you know, it's almost like you could watch like a whole day of them just talking, like, what happened, dude? Like he had probably
like
so
catching
much
up
to tell him that happened to him as an adult. He hit a lot of it probably.
Yeah.
So yeah, it just, and I love that there's like a fancy jazz rendition of Heart and Soul too at the end of this movie that I love, and I watch the credits almost every single time this movie stops. I can't turn it off right after it ends. Like I have to listen to that every time. So it's such a cool like fun up tempo Heart and Soul jazz rendition. Whoever playing it, I don't know, but it's one of my favorites. Anyways, that's big. It's it's a special little movie. I thought it'd be fun to do for us, considering I am very much attached to it for many reasons, because I am secretly 13, and
well, that's what it is, right? Like I think we're both like adult children. Like I never ever will grow up. It's not gonna happen. I'm never gonna.
I'll deny it that I'm not a baby, but I we all have the mind of a child somewhere in us, and but I think the message is, it's like, don't grow up too fast is the message, right?
Yeah.
And that's what I was saying. And he doesn't want to grow up too fast, but he doesn't want to like he doesn't want to be a kid, but he doesn't want to be adult. Like you just gotta wait it out. We're always trying to like figure out what it is that it is we're supposed to be. And I don't think anybody really is. It's like just okay, everyone's always pushing and moving, but that's life. So this movie should have been called Life.
No, big. I want to be big. But wait, you want to know my thoughts on it? Watching it as an adult.
No, and I was just about to get to that. So I was gonna say, my overall thoughts. I do love this movie. It's a dear treasure. I think it's it was something special for the time, and it's I leave it on every time it's on. I'll throw it on anytime it's on if I just need a good movie to watch. I highly recommend it, just to watch something. Good laughs, good fun. What are your thoughts? Sucks.
No, it doesn't suck. I mean, first of all, again, I love Tom Hanks. A friend of mine, we did a whole Tom Hanks marathon over the winter.
Oh, so wait, I'm sorry to cut you off, but I didn't tell you. So I watched Big, You've Got Mail, and The Terminal all in one day the other day.
But yes, you did tell me the other day that you watched all of those.
A lot of Tom Hanks, and I felt great.
So much Tom Hanks.
Felt awesome. I love it.
I did something similarly. We watched Charlie Wilson's War. Oh my God, what's the one with he drives he's the captain of the ship. It just came out recently.
Oh,
It's on,
Captain
like,
Phillips.
We watched Captain Phillips. That's not what I'm talking about though.
Oh, the newer
Sully.
one, right? On Apple.
Okay, so
Apple Plus.
we watched Charlie Wilson's War. We watched Sully. We watched
Captain
oh my
Phillips.
God, what's the name of the movie? It's a new
Castaway?
one. It's on Apple Plus.
Oh, I don't know. Greyhound or something.
Greyhound. Yes, thank you. We watched Greyhound, and
Pull
then
that
I
up
watched
in there. I
Castaway
made that up
before
almost.
that.
Okay.
I watched Castaway before that. Like Tom Hanks is a gem, and like honestly, someone should check on him because he's a pure individual, and we need to make sure he's okay.
He'll be fine. He'll be fine.
But yeah, I'm a huge fan of Tom Hanks. I love him. I also watched a movie called The Man with One
Oh, with the red shoe.
with the one red shoe or something like
One,
that.
yeah.
It's on HBO Max. I don't suggest it. It's very
I
bizarre.
saw that, and I was saying this must be one of those. I need a quick movie that he made.
But that's exactly why.
Yeah.
we
But
watched
you
it.
know, he did a lot of comedies back then, though, too. You know, that was him kind of
I
getting
wouldn't call
going.
this a comedy.
I didn't see it, but like, but those like those weird '80s movies choices that he did.
Yeah. Yeah.
So who
anyway.
knows? You know.
I do love this movie. I remember watching it as a kid. It's just some of it's cringy. Like he's 13 and it's weird his relationship with this girl.
Yeah,
but
if you
I
could,
relate more to the female character in this movie than I do him.
Well, there's only one female character, so it's kind of one-sided. I get it. Yeah, it's more for the boys.
Yeah, that's why like 13
to
going
be
on
honest
30
with
is
you,
more
so
relatable to me.
And I watched 13 going on 30, and I felt the same way with that movie as a guy. Like I had a little to relate with it. I still love it. I felt exactly the same way. It's just some things are good more for guys and more for girls. There's really no facing it, but like I relate more with Mark Ruffalo in that movie, you know, and it's like, and I love Jennifer Gardner every single second in that movie. There's like, you can't take away anything away from that. That's like her star role. I can't see her in really anything else except that movie, really. It's like, that's to be who she is. So I know it's not true. She's a great actress, but I'm just saying like, she's so good in that movie. So, you know, and it's like, but if you ask me, what would I like better, Big or 13 going on 30? I have to go with Big. It's just like, that's just a bigger place in my, you know, for me, that I would like that better. So, but yeah. So you give it a thumbs up at least?
No, I do. I love this movie. I love it.
Watch it a few more times, and like I think, not trying to like buy you onto like, I mean, like, you know, I think you'll catch a little bit more things the more times you see it.
Yeah, maybe.
But like it's I just like the humor in it is really great. It makes me feel good every time I want to watch something that's kind of just like uplifting. And you'd be like, why? I just love like him as a kid going, you know, around the toy store. Like that's kind of just where I find it to be really
it reminds me it's okay to be whatever age I am now and like still have like act like a kid in some aspects of my life. Like it makes me feel like it's okay to do that because like I don't.
And it's a fictional
it's okay to grow
story,
up, but you don't want to grow up too fast.
You know, it's just like all right.
True.
Well, thank you guys. I think that'll do it for this week's episode. Not too much longer than I wanted to go, but we have so much to talk about. It's hard to cram, you know, a big fun-filled movie in a short amount of time and get everything I wanted to talk about. But I think I hit all the notes. As I said, if there's a movie that you need me to watch that I haven't watched yet, I think it's going to be coming up soon, or a movie I haven't seen in a long time. That'd be great.
I mean, so next week it is my birthday.
Yes, we're going to be celebrating.
We may do a movie that I've seen that you haven't seen. I don't know. I got to think about it. We'll see. There's definitely probably a couple that are my favorites that you haven't seen, but we'll see.
Yeah, and I'll be looking forward to watching those. Dig
through in my mind.
I think we'll think of something. What did I suggest last time? All the Planet of the Apes movies.
Yeah, like why? Why?
I don't
They're not bad. I just
Still
like
need
don't
to
wanna
get Three
talk about
Ninjas
them.
on there. Terrible
Three
music. No
Ninjas.
music. Three Ninjas. That's definitely one. All nostalgic movies in the 90s. Camp Nowhere. That's another great
Oh
one.
my god, I love that movie.
Really? It's on Disney Plus. I'll do it next week. It's
It's
got great
so
music.
good. I
My
love
favorite,
that movie.
Mike and the
I don't want that to
Mechanics.
be my
Good
birthday
stuff.
movie.
Good stuff.
I have it on DVD. I love that
All
movie.
right, so we might do Camp Nowhere next week, everybody. I'm hoping
No,
you
it's
guys
not
are
going to be
ready.
next week. My birthday, I don't want to do that movie.
Like I said, it's not going to be next week, but hopefully soon.
Surprise! You're talking about
but
the
we have a
Christopher Lloyd
good list of
movie.
movies coming up, so I can't wait to do them.
Yeah, for sure. But thanks everyone for listening. Actually, I should plug this
I was gonna
because we're gonna be on Foodies Never Die podcast sometime next week. Go follow them, Foodies Never Die, on Instagram, Spotify, any podcasting websites. But yeah, we're gonna be featured on there for a little bit. We're gonna talk about us, talk about them, talk about movies, talk about beer, most importantly.
I think I don't even know what we're talking about.
We're just gonna talk.
Let's
So if
give
you like us-
something to talk about.
Maybe we'll just sing that song. Who knows?
Give something to talk about.
But yeah, check them out if you like food, if you like beer.
Can't wait. It's gonna be fun.
Yeah, it is. But yeah, thanks for tuning in, everyone. For now, we're signing off.
We're gonna learn Heart and Soul for the next week's episode.
We
Duet
are
style.
not gonna do that. No.
All right, I'm gonna do my dance for the outro music now.
And then we dance.
Hey.
Bye.